Hi, I am Pastor Nancy Benson Nicole, and this is Rhythm and Word, a weekly video devotional brought to you by Fourth Presbyterian Church of Chicago. And this is the final week that I have with you to explore together what I name as my spiritual bookmarks. And those are those people or experiences, places or institutions that I continue to turn to and that continue to form me and inform me, both professionally as a pastor and personally in my own faith journey. I've explored how people have made an imprint, have taught me how to see the extraordinary in the ordinary and to find the magic and wonder in things. And I'm thankful to my dearly beloved and departed friend, Tom. I thought about the experience of feeling the sacrament of the Lord's Supper come alive, gathered at the Aegean Sea to break bread and to pour the cup. I enjoyed identifying how the connectional church, through my experience so many years ago as a youth advisory delegate to the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church USA, showed me the value of connecting to the greater ministries of the church and how important it is for us to remember that connection as we engage in ministry in our own spaces and in our own churches. And so finally, my spiritual bookmark this week involves the lesson of learning to pay attention to what is before us. And that bookmark for that lesson is my own late mother, Nanette Benson Nicole. My mother was born in 1947 in a small town about an hour north of Philadelphia called Doylestown, Pennsylvania. She was one of three sisters, an older sister named Jean and a twin sister named Nancy. My upbringing involved my being raised by my mother and her twin sister, my Aunt Nancy, and my grandmother, Gladys, in the small home of their upbringing in Doylestown as well. My mother had been a single mother. She divorced my father when I was an infant and actually escaped a situation of domestic abuse to return home and to create home and family with me and my mom, or my grandmom and my aunt. My mom was a unique person. She was, I'm told, really kind of an imp of a kid, really curious and extroverted, and one of those who would hop around the neighborhood and chat up anybody that she encountered. There were neighbors that kept chickens and hens in their backyards, and she would talk that neighbor senseless about the chickens and how miraculous it was that the chickens would lay eggs and they would have breakfast every day from their own backyard. Or nobody was a stranger to her. She and her sisters wore two Laura Ingalls-styled pigtails and would make their way around the small town. My mother had a way with animals, always stopping to greet a squirrel, feed a little nut, to greet all of the dogs, to sing with the birds. She also had an artistic bent about her. And I would learn how to draw and to paint sitting at her feet or having her stand behind me as I navigated drawing a house or a tree with a crayon. She was really encouraging, and she showed me new ideas for how to render a shadow as I got older and got more sophisticated with my drawings and paintings. She introduced me to the joy of arts and crafts, and it seemed like there was always some sort of project with super glue or needles and thread that were around the house. And she did everything from decoupaging furniture to creating little clothespin toy soldiers to hang on the Christmas tree. She had a knack also, like my friend Tom, for finding extraordinary things in the ordinary, but her particular gift at it was in always paying attention. And see, to be an artist, to be a good artist, if you will, and by good, I just mean active as an artist and attentive to engaging in one's art, is in paying attention to how the light and the shadows fall when you're trying to recreate the vase or the sphere or whatever it is that's in front of you, if you are drawing from still, or if you're sitting at a landscape and noticing the particular curve of the tree or the relationship of the root and its distance between its deepest root that is visible on the ground or the highest bough of the tree, and where to render that on a page. To be an artist is to know how to pay attention. And my mom really knew how to pay attention. She knew how to pay attention in the kitchen. And when I was a young adult, in particular, coming back from college or from graduate school, she had leaned into becoming a foodie and always loved to experiment with recipes or to clip new ones. Seemed like our bookshelves were filled with nothing but recipe books. And if there wasn't inspiration that she was gathering for herself, she was compiling little booklets for me to carry with me and to cook on my own. But to be a foodie is to pay attention to salt, fat, acid, and heat, as it's said, or the sweetness of things. To pay attention to the intricacies of baking, in contrast to the spontaneity that cooking allows. In fact, it was near the end of her life when she was leaving the hospital from having spent an extended amount of time there, that she told us that they had actually come to her, the orderlies at the hospital and others, to have her consultation on the food that they were serving at the hospital. They had found a new vendor there and that they were experimenting with. And one night there had been a particular pasta dish, and she had said to the orderly, I really enjoyed this particular pasta. The one thing I might recommend is easing up a little bit on the oregano, because I think you might overwhelm people's palates with that. And instead of seeing that as a nuisance, they really valued the fact that she had paid enough attention to the dish to have something to say about it. And so they invited her input. And that pleased her a lot, that they cared enough to listen to her input, to hear her attention to that detail. It was in learning how to pay attention to things, to looking both ways before crossing the street. Pay attention, Nancy Jean. Pay attention to what surrounds you. Because not only does paying attention keep you out of danger, more importantly, it allows you to see the beauty of the creation that surrounds you. And when you pay attention to people, when they're sharing their story or pouring their hearts out to you, it allows you to see how the light of Jesus may be dancing in their eyes, or how the story that their heart is telling may be different from the sound of the voice that they're using as they're couching deep hurt behind pleasantries and casual words. It's important, you see, to pay attention to life, to pay attention to what is before us. And my mom, Nanette, is my precious spiritual bookmark that when I turn the pages in my life and hold a place and look at what is important, it's her ability to pay attention that continues to give shape and form to my presence as a pastor and to my walk of faith, to pay attention to what God holds in store for me and for us. So these 4 weeks have been an exploration of some of my spiritual bookmarks, those people or experiences or places that continually feed and nurture me, where I continue to turn to be reminded of what is important and what gives me strength and hope. I hope that my pausing to reflect on these bookmarks have inspired or resourced your journey in identifying what spiritual bookmarks exists for you to continue to feed you and to equip you to face the challenges of this day, especially as so much is being effaced by famine, by miscommunication, by mindful manipulation, by all of the ways that the brokenness of our humanity encroaches on our capacity to be able to find hope and strength in what surrounds us. May these spiritual bookmarks be a counter to what effaces God's creation, that we would embrace what it is that gives us resurrection hope. May you find your way as the bookmarks guide you. Keep the faith.